Most men are prisoners of rhythm. They repeat the same stance, the same words, the same mistakes. An enemy does not need strength to break you, only patience. He waits for the pattern, then ends you with it. Musashi listened to the wind of other schools, not to copy, but to cut. In his scrolls, he carved a warning. Study the ways of other schools to know their strengths and weaknesses. So I ask you now, are you training to be unpredictable steel? Or rehearsing the same defeat again and again? You will discover how to pierce through false strength, unmask hidden weaknesses, and strike with clarity so you can walk into every conflict, on the battlefield, in business, or within yourself, with a discipline so sharp it cannot be ignored. So I ask you now, before we take a single step further, when the storm rises against you, do you bend and see, or do you break while defending what was never strong? Musashi understood this question, not as theory, but as survival. Alone in fields of dew, in temples where his own footsteps echoed back, in duels where hesitation meant death, he listened to the wind. Not the wind of trees, but the wind of men, their schools, their doctrines, their proud ways of moving and teaching. He called it the wind scroll, for just as the air carries scents and whispers, so do the styles of others carry their weaknesses for those who can smell them. He learned not to admire those schools, not to copy them, but to see through them. That is the first discipline, to study others, not for imitation, but for destruction. Study your enemy, and they hand you the knife. Every school is built on promises, and every promise hides a fracture. Look close. The boxer who boasts of speed neglects the breath that burns out his chest. The archer with flawless form trembles when the target shifts. The leader who thrives on speeches cannot answer when silence demands a decision. Their rhythm betrays them. Their habits expose them. Their pride becomes a cage you can rattle with a single strike. Musashi walked into dojos and watched men repeat their forms with shining eyes, proud to imitate their master. But imitation is noise. He listened past the noise until he found the pattern, the sequence, the tell that always appeared when fatigue entered. And when the duel began, he stepped on that pattern like breaking a rotten floorboard. The illusion collapsed. You must do the same, not with swords alone, but with eyes that refuse to blink. In the office where the confident man always interrupts at the same moment. In the negotiation where the rival always deflects with the same joke. In your own life, where you hide behind the same excuse. Watch, not to admire, but to cut. The styles of others are not prisons for you unless you volunteer to join them. Most men stop at the surface. They see the banner, the uniform, the eloquence, the speed, and they bow. They forget that even the most gilded tower rests on cracked stone. You are not here to bow. You are here to strip away the paint and put your hand on the fracture. It is there. It is always there. Listen carefully. Patterns are louder than words. The rhythm of an opponent tells you how to end them. Pride reveals itself before the blade touches flesh. If you are still enough, they will hum their defeat long before it happens. But here lies the sharper edge. This is not only about them. This is about you. For every school that you see outside, there is a school you follow inside. For every rival's weakness you observe, there is a weakness that shadows you. So I cut this question directly into your chest. What style has captured you? What craving rules you today? Do not answer quickly. Let the silence drag you into honesty. Is it the ritual you cling to because it comforts your ego? Is it the posture you repeat because it looks impressive in the mirror? Is it the routine that once served you but now leaves you slow? What path are you following that would make Musashi shake his head and cut it down with a single swing? It is mercy to know your own blind spots before battle exposes them. That is why Musashi studied the ways of others, not for admiration, not for inheritance, but for destruction. When you understand their illusion, you understand your own. And when you pierce both, you stop shadowboxing and begin fighting the real. So learn, observe, compare. Strip away the pride of others until only their weakness remains. Then strip away your own pride until you are left with clarity. This is the first lesson of wind. To see the road another man walks, to notice where it breaks, and to strike at that precise place without hesitation. Forms look strong until pressure bends them. Wind does not keep shape. It destroys it, reforms it, bends it into whatever the moment demands. So why do men cling to postures as if they were iron? Musashi's voice cut through centuries. Fixation on stance and form is a weakness. True combat is not bound to shape. He scorned the worship of stances. He mocked rigid guards, sculpted poses, elaborate sequences that impressed students, but died the moment mud, chaos, or fatigue entered the field. A form is scaffolding. It helps you rise when you are weak. But if you cling to scaffolding once the structure is built, it becomes a cage. The man who drills the same pose again and again is not mastering combat. He is rehearsing a performance, and performance cracks under weight. A rigid stance is a coffin built for the living. The moment your enemy moves outside the script, you falter. The moment the ground shifts beneath you, you stumble. The moment fear tightens your chest, your elegant lines break. That is why Musashi wrote of wind, because the wind holds nothing. It bends, it twists, it shifts without apology. To master the wind is to move without being chained by a single silhouette. Look at those around you. A fighter locked into a picture-perfect guard. A manager bound by a formula that once worked. A man so proud of his routine that he will defend it even when it no longer serves him. These are not warriors. These are prisoners bowing to old diagrams. They mistake memory for mastery. You must become different. You must let your stance be water on stone, always reshaping, never repeating. What matters is not how your form looks, but what it delivers. If one ugly step wins distance, take it. If a crooked angle steals timing, embrace it. If a move born of desperation keeps you alive, it is more perfect than any page of tradition. Musashi himself never settled into one guard. He shifted with distance, with terrain, with the pulse of his opponent. He was not a statue to be admired. He was a storm to be feared. He would step in with the long sword low, then pivot and cut from above. He would change grips, alter tempo, discard symmetry, anything to shatter the opponent's certainty. This was not chaos. It was precision, untied from vanity. Many are afraid of such freedom. They think, without form, I will be lost. But freedom is not absence. Freedom is discipline without a leash. When you abandon rigid patterns, you must anchor yourself in principles instead. Principles endure where forms collapse. Distance, timing, line, pressure, rhythm. These are eternal. A stance may fail, but distance does not lie. A guard may crumble, but rhythm always cuts. So I demand this from you now. Name the pose you cling to, though it has already failed. Name the ritual you defend, though it has already betrayed you. If you cannot name it, then it owns you. The enemy of victory is not ignorance, it is rigidity. The man who knows little but adapts survives longer than the man who knows much but cannot bend. The wind has no master, yet it breaks mountains. If you wish to endure, you must be willing to be unseen, unglamorous, unscripted. When they expect you to step right, step left. When they wait for elegance, give them ugly efficiency. When they rely on your rhythm, break it in half. Let this be carved into your chest. The form exists only to be broken. The stance exists only to be abandoned. The guard exists only to create leverage in this moment, not the next. Do not carry the boat after you've crossed the river. Do not worship the sword stance when the fight demands fists. Do not bow to memory when the present demands innovation. The world worships elegance, but elegance does not stop a blade. Tradition can inspire, but tradition can also suffocate. Musashi despised illusion. His words cut clean. Ornament and elegance are without value in combat. He saw schools of swordsmanship turn into theaters, where students performed flawless movements to impress their masters, not to kill their enemies. He saw traditions that were once born from necessity calcify into rituals, repeated long after their effectiveness had died. He saw men bow to beauty while walking blindly into defeat, and he despised it. Elegance can hypnotize. It dazzles the eye, flatters the ego, and makes the weak feel strong. But when pressure comes, when sweat blinds, when fatigue shakes the arms, when fear steals breath, elegance vanishes. Only what is effective remains. Musashi did not chase beauty. He chased results. A strike that looked clumsy but ended the fight was more perfect than a strike that looked beautiful but failed. The same danger lives today. Men decorate their routines with excess. They measure themselves by applause. They inherit rituals without asking if they still work. In the gym, they follow glamorous programs that exhaust them but never build resilience. At work, they use polished language that hides a lack of clarity. In relationships, they cling to gestures that feel romantic but avoid truth. They are actors on a stage, not warriors in a field. Musashi's warning cuts deep. If you trust tradition without testing it, you are not a warrior, you are a worshiper. If you prize elegance above function, you have already lost. The enemy will not care how graceful your swing looks when it misses his flesh. The discipline is brutal. You must strip away everything ornamental. Take your methods, your habits, your inherited truths, and set them against reality. Does this survive pressure? Does this move me closer to victory? Does this endure when fear, exhaustion, and chaos arrive? If not, burn it. Keep only what lives when the world tries to kill it. This stripping will make you hated. People worship rituals because rituals are safe. They give men identity. They offer the illusion of mastery without the pain of reality. When you tear away those illusions, you threaten not just a method, but a man's pride. Musashi knew this. That is why he was feared. He was not polite about weakness. He exposed it. And now I demand reflection from you. What ritual are you defending because it flatters you? What tradition do you cling to because it makes you look the part, but does not deliver results under pressure? Do you love the applause more than the truth? These questions are sharp because they must be. The path of the warrior is not applause, it is accuracy. The applause of others will not save you when chaos strikes. Only what works will. So destroy elegance where it weakens you. Cut away tradition where it blinds you. Do not keep something because it is beautiful. Keep it because it is effective. The blade does not care about appearances. The battlefield does not care about heritage. Reality does not care about your pride. Understand this. There is a beauty in truth, but it is a different kind of beauty. It is the beauty of the oak that still stands after the storm, scarred but unbroken. The beauty of the scar that proves survival. The beauty of the strike that lands, not because it is pretty, but because it is precise. That is the beauty Musashi honored, the beauty born from necessity. Strip the altar, keep the flame. Falsehood is everywhere. It dresses itself as discipline. It hides behind tradition. It flatters the ego with elegance. But when battle comes, falsehood dies fast. His last teaching whispered through the wind scroll, "Perceive what is not true, and return to the real way." He stripped away every borrowed motion, every untested creed, every pretty deception, until only the raw truth remained. The essence of combat is not decoration. It is not ritual. It is not what looks impressive under the eye of a master or earns the nod of a crowd. Essence is brutal. Essence is 3 stones: distance, timing, and line. If you control distance, you choose when the fight begins. If you master timing, you strike when the enemy cannot. If you control the line, you pierce through their guard and end it. Everything else is shadow. Everything else is noise. Men chase complexity because it comforts them. They add layers, polish routines, build complicated strategies, believing that more moving parts means more power. But complexity is often cowardice. It is a way to delay the test. To say, "I am preparing," when in truth you are avoiding. Essence is merciless because it forces you to face reality. Ask yourself, if stripped of all your ornaments, would your way still work? If your plan had to survive without backup, would it hold? If your words had to live without explanation, would they still cut? Most cannot answer yes. And that is why most fail. Musashi saw this weakness and rejected it. He refused to be blinded by ornament. He refused to let borrowed forms dictate his hand. He saw through the false, and he struck with the true. That is why he survived duel after duel, why his path endures while others turn to dust. His legacy was not style, it was essence. Now I put this blade to your chest. What single cut, simple, unfashionable, undeniable, are you avoiding because it would end the dance and begin the work? Do not answer with excuses. Sit with the silence. Let the lie reveal itself, then kill it. Essence is not glamorous. It is plain meals, plain work, plain repetition, until the truth becomes bone deep. It is the unglamorous strike repeated until it lands without thought. It is the conversation where you speak one sharp sentence instead of 1,000 decorative words. It is the decision where you act directly instead of waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. This plainness is power, because reality is plain. When you live by essence, you will be misunderstood. They will call you cold because you refuse to flatter. They will call you stubborn because you refuse to inherit weakness. They will call you ruthless because you demand results, not appearances. Let them speak. The wind is loud to those who never learn to listen. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be effective. And this is where Musashi leaves you. Not with forms, not with praise, but with the quiet demand to return always to what works. The wind scroll was never about learning styles to borrow them. It was about cutting through every falsehood until only the essential remains. That is your task. That is your way. But one more truth remains. All styles end in the grave. Every school, every form, every ornament will vanish. Death strips everything but essence. This is not despair. It is clarity. If this were your last battle, would you waste time with elegance? If this were your final strike, would you decorate it, or would you drive it straight through? If the answer is straight, then live straight now. Mastery is not mystery. It is the long march of exactness, watching patterns until they hum in your bones, abandoning forms the moment they stiffen, cutting away ornament the moment it blinds, returning again and again to distance, timing, line. This is the labor Musashi endured, not for applause, but for survival. This is the discipline that looks insane to the world, but wins when the world tests it. So I leave you with this blade at your throat. If you stripped your life to only what survives pressure, would anything remain? And if nothing remained, will you have the courage to love what works? Choose now, or be chosen by defeat. Stand up. The wind is already moving.